How the mighty have fallen. And honestly, I don't think most of us even care anymore because, they kind of did it to themselves, you know. Um so Ubisoft stock crashes 18% after earnings miss and Tencent deal fallout. It's just one thing after another with this company, isn't it? Um Ubisoft stock fell sharply on Thursday, which is today, dropping more than 18% to 9.55 euros per share following a fourth quarter earnings report that disappointed investors and triggered renewed concerns about the company's financial direction. You don't say. You get what you fucking deserve. For the fiscal year ending March 31st, 2025, Ubisoft reported net bookings of 1.85 billion euros or $2.1 billion, marking a 20.5% year-over-year decline. The company also posted an operating loss of 15.1 million euros for the year. While Ubisoft pointed to Assassin's Creed Shadows, released in March, as a contributing factor to the year's results, the overall impact was not enough to reverse a downward trend. The company cited lower than expected partnerships as a primary reason for the decline in bookings. And even that, I just did a video on that. It didn't make nearly as much as they would want you to think they did. There's a reason why they said 3 million players instead of how many games actually sold. Because over 2 months it only sold about 2.5 million copies, which that's over the PlayStation, PC, and Xbox. Now, we don't know how many of those were subscription, which is like the subscription is like what, $5, and you can pretty much play them. So I didn't do any of that. I just assumed 2.5 million times $70. Just say everyone who got the game wasn't doing it on some subscription service, and it was a legitimate copy. So 2.5 million times $70, and we came out to about $168 million, which is pathetic. Now, normal people, or not normal people, but some people will be like, oh my God, that's a big PP number. It is, but not when you're a business. When the game alone took about $350 to $500 million to make, that $168 million seems kind of insignificant now. And that's just production. Then you have the marketing, which pushes it to probably about 700 million. In order to make $700 million, that to break even, which you don't want to do, they would need 10 million copies sold. Not 10 million players, 10 million copies sold just to break even. So the game did not do what they wanted, and that's what they get. Not really listening to people, and when they finally did try to change things, it was too late. They should have just changed things from the beginning when they still had time, when it was cheaper. Understanding net bookings, Ubisoft reported 1.85 billion euros in net bookings, reflected the total value of products and services sold or committed to during the fiscal year, including digital and physical game sales and game purchases, subscriptions, and pre-orders. Unlike standard revenue, which is actually, hang on. I actually kind of want to know what was the deluxe edition. I think there was like a deluxe edition. Hang on. All right, so this is from Ubisoft's own site. Deluxe edition is about $90. So let's go ahead and do $2.5 million times 90. Even if every person bought a deluxe edition, you would still only get $225. Again, about 350 to 400 million just just for the game production, and that's not adding the marketing afterwards. So even if everyone bought a deluxe edition, they're still nowhere close to breaking even, which is about $700 million. So there's no way of slicing this to where it looks positive for these people. And then you have games like X Defiant that they shut down and stuff like that, and they just it's like they don't know what they're doing anymore. Unlike standard revenue, which is recognized only when a product is delivered or a service is rendered, net bookings are a forward-looking measure of demand and expected income. The 20.5% decline. Ow. Seriously, I think I'm getting arthritis or something. Being so old and having worked in factories and stuff like that for so long. I cracked this knuckle, like this knuckle right here, and it just hurts every single freaking time. Every single time. People were like, yeah, that's pretty much signs of like arthritis. I'm like, well, I worked in a factory for ages, so I really wouldn't be surprised. Also, stay hydrated, kids. I mean, really, stay hydrated. This was all the way up here, but that was much earlier. It had a bunch of ice, and then obviously the ice melted, and then I drank the shit out of that too. Anyway, a significant drop in both consumer engagement and Ubisoft's near-term revenue pipeline. For investors, weakening bookings are often seen as an early warning sign of future financial strain. Guidance and market reaction. Ubisoft outlook on the 2025-26 fiscal year also failed to inspire confidence. Well, when you have one game flop after another, having to lay people off, closing down studios, canceling projects, why would anyone be confident in that? Man, after all those people they laid off and the studios closing and all that, those investors like, oh, we got to get some of that. I mean, come on. No, they don't want that. They want to invest in something that they know is going to be profitable. Ubisoft having to close multiple studios is clearly not profitable. The publisher said it expects net bookings to remain stable year over year, and is aiming to break even a non-IFRS operating income basis. And this dude, who's like, "Don't believe your lying eyes," you know, the website itself says, you know, oh, we believe in diversity and inclusion, and we strive to add those into our games and narratives and this and that. But then this dude's like, we're not doing that. It's not happening. Don't believe your lying eyes. Investors reacted swiftly. Thursday's Ubisoft stock drop brings the company's total decline to nearly 60% over the past 12 months. So in almost a year, it's dropped more than half. Gee, can't imagine why. With its market value now sitting below key debt thresholds, the earnings call followed a string of financial challenges, including internal restructuring, layoffs, and growing pressure from shareholders. Yeah. Like, again, it's like I said, you know, you have all these things going wrong. You know, having to close down shop, you know, in certain places, having to fire people, canceling projects. The games that you do release aren't performing well. This freaking schmuck over here, you know, telling people not to believe their lying eyes, even though you're clearly forcing DEI crap into games, despite the fact that it's clearly not working out for you. Investors see that, they're like, no. Not at all. I'd rather invest in something that will make me a lot of money. I'm not investing in Ubisoft, as the kids call it nowadays. No, investors that their job is to make money. And that's a business's job, is to make money. You're not going to be an investor. We're like, oh, let's invest in these guys over here. You see how much money they're losing? Oh, it's ripe for the picking. No, no. You're going to see that and you're like, oh, yikes. Oh, am I right? Um, so, they're just pushing away shareholders and investors, and they don't get it. That's the problem. They don't get it. Tencent subsidiary deal still under fire. In March, Ubisoft announced it would transfer its top franchises, Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six, into a new Tencent-backed subsidiary. Tencent will invest 1.16 billion euros for a 25% stake in the new unit, while Ubisoft retains majority control and earns royalties on future sales. Ubisoft expects the transaction to be finalized at the end of 2025. However, the deal has sparked backlash among minority shareholders. The Park Place previously reported AJ Investments, along with a coalition of other shareholders, has filed a legal challenge demanding that Ubisoft hold an extraordinary league of extraordinary gentlemen, extraordinary general meeting to vote on the Tencent agreement. The coalition has proposed two resolutions: restructure the deal as a direct asset sale value at no less than 4 billion euros, or two, murder. No, distribute an extraordinary dividend of 23 euros per share, equating to 3 billion euros to investors, while preserving 1 billion euros to corporate obligations. In their open letter to Ubisoft, the group argued the deal was structured to bypass mandatory public offer rules and entrench control with the Guillemot family, who currently holds less than 10% economic interest in the company. They're not messing around with this. People are like, well, there's one of two ways that we can go about this. Neither one of them are super for you, but they also pointed to the stock's recent volatility and high volume trading as a sign of investor rejection, with Ubisoft's share price having dropped 24% since the deal was announced. A volatile year ahead. Between the steep drop in earnings, investor backlash to structural changes, and to the ongoing licensing lawsuit over The Crew, Ubisoft enters fiscal year 2025-2026 under mounting pressure. Under pressure. Pushing down on me. Pushing down. No. Under pressure. The core assets already spun off in a new subsidiary, and shareholders demanding greater transparency and accountability. Accountability. This is the gaming industry in 2025. They don't even know the meaning of the word. The company faces a turbulent year ahead, financially, legally, and strategically. Well, maybe if they just, I don't know, made good games, go back to being what they used to be. Again, Ubisoft used to be a titan of the gaming industry. What the fuck happened? You know, this is not the Ubisoft that we used to know. Do 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 do. That I used to know. But yeah, think back to when like early 2000s. Yeah, that was Ubisoft. This, whatever the fuck they are now, is just a hollow, broken shell of what they used to be. They can't seem to succeed anymore. Every single day, every single game they push out is a fucking failure. Whether it be Assassin's Creed or Star Wars or Prince of Persia or whatever it is, Tencent or X Defiant, it canceled. It's just one thing after another. It's one thing after another, and you know, so I've said before, I don't think anyone really wants these gaming companies to go out of business, but at this point, they fail to learn. They refuse to learn. What made them great in the first place was that they made games that were fun. Games that weren't preachy, games that were, you could play them. Nowadays, it's like, oh, well, they look nice, but the controls suck, the story sucks, the characters aren't relatable. And then you have a game that pisses off an entire freaking country, Japan, because Ubisoft didn't do their history homework, despite the fact that they said they were working closely with, professors or people who could inform them. And then you have things like Chinese architecture instead of Japanese. Just really stupid stuff. Really stupid stuff that shows that they weren't working with professionals. But the live service stuff and releasing games that are just completely buggy part of making a game is testing said game and making sure the bugs are out. Because it's not like a game where it's like an MMO where you can have players go on and like World of Warcraft or something where you have you can have people go on and test things out, like a PTR. No. You have people you pay to make sure the bugs are out before it's released. Nope. Now they're using us as the bug testers, and it's only after the game's been released, after people have paid their money. It's like, oh, have fun finding those bugs, guys. And then when the game comes out, there's so many bugs, it feels like it's like still in its beta form. Like, did you guys even test any of this shit? Or are you just using us as guinea pigs? So investors see this crap and they're like, oh, God. Oh, they're like, there was a day when I wanted to invest in Ubisoft, but now is not that time. I just want to invest someplace where I know is going to make me lots and lots of sweet, sweet, cold, hard cash. And then I can throw it on my bed and lie around naked, rolling around in it. Can wipe my ass with $100 bills. That's the kind of money I want to make. And with Ubisoft, I'm not going to make it there. Anyway, that's going to do for me. You guys know the drill. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.